This is part 2 of a conversation with Clay McCombe of Dr. Cog. In the first part, we talked about the new Power Ahead Colorado program, as well as the Green Workforce Hub and hiring in the HVAC industry in general. We're going to be picking up where we left off. As always, feel free to follow us on Spotify or YouTube to be alerted when new episodes drop. Thank you for listening. And then let me clarify real quick. This Green Workforce Hub, is this the same thing as the Colorado Contractor Hub? That way we're on the same. Oh, this is a different thing. Okay.
I wrote a lot of programs, Cam.
Yeah.
I'm kind of kicking myself because it's a lot to manage now. But yes, different program.
Okay. Well, sweet. Then I think maybe let's talk about what is the Colorado Contractor Hub then.
And so excited for the Colorado Contractor Hub. It probably dilutes it because I'm excited about everything we've talked about. But I really am so excited about the Contractor Hub. Really, it's the most important thing. We can add all these new workforce programs, but if we're training all these young people on heat pumps and then the company that hires them is like, heat pumps don't work in Colorado. I mean, we're gonna have egg on our face and a lot of very confused, new employees. So how do we get the existing industry to adopt heat pumps, the HVAC industry? Again, based on that same study, we see that just based on Xcel Energy territory, only about 15 to 20% of the HVAC market has adopted heat pumps into their business. So that's 1 in 5 HVAC contractors are really doing heat pumps regularly, at least based on Xcel data. So even that it's probably a little conservative, but it's safe to say still most contractors do not find that this makes business sense, or they are still under the impression of what was true for decades, which is that traditional heat pumps do not work in extreme cold climates like Colorado has. So there's some misinformation, some education there that new technology has improved, and we have these super efficient heat pumps that work in cold climates. But a lot of it too is the market has, your first question, how did you engage, and meeting with so many contractors, the trend that I heard over and over and over again was, I don't care how much money they're paying me to do a heat pump. The rebate process is so complicated. It takes me so long. I have to do multiple forms for different programs to stack them. And frankly, once again, I don't need this new heat pump program. I'm doing just fine installing gas. So it's too complicated. I don't want to do it. I didn't get into the trades to sit in my computer all day.
No incentive to do it.
No incentive. There's financial incentive, and even the financial incentive not being enough. And so I saw this issue of we have a system that's too complicated for adoption, where even money and financial incentives aren't enough to get buy-in. And so when I wrote the Colorado Contractor Hub design, I really envisioned the easy button for heat pumps. How do we think about the contractor as the customer first instead of the consumer as the customer? How do we make a better customer experience for these contractors and really create a one-stop shop for anything you might need for a heat pump project as a contractor? And that's what we're going to be rolling out in January.
Okay. Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah,
Where could that be found when it is rolled out?
So we're doing our first live demo this Thursday at the Energy Efficiency Business Coalition meeting here in Denver. So if you're listening to this before that comes out, I don't know how quick you roll these episodes out, but that's where we're going to be doing our live demo. We will launch the Colorado Contractor Hub mid-January. Hopefully, I'm scared to put a date out there, but January 13th is my deadline that I'm really advocating for. And you will get to, as a contractor, there's so many features on this, but you'll register to become a listed contractor, but really this isn't about being on another list. I think there's too many lists in Colorado. All these registered contractor lists. What does it mean?
Yeah.
What is this list even legit? Like, some businesses on these lists are not even in business anymore.
I know. Yeah.
And so a customer what, okay, this list doesn't mean anything. Now I question every list.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
let's get away from lists. Let's get to leads. How can we create something that generates leads for a business? Forget the lists. So you register here, you'll get listed, but it's really more about generating a lead. And we don't need all these lists, because on our platform there will be a badge for each other program you're enrolled in as a business. So if I'm doing the Excel program, I'll have a little Excel badge that says, yep, I'm enrolled in that too. State program, I'll have a little state badge, I'm enrolled in that too. That alone, I think, is going to avoid some complexities. But on top of that, I mean, how do you find a good contractor?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know what is a good contractor? And to the layman, homeowner, like, how do I trust that this is legit? That what this Chuck in a truck, that he really means what he says. So we're gonna have a way to, to our best ability, encourage our system when a customer generates a request. It'll be based on, first and foremost, their proximity to the business. That's part of the search algorithm. A lot of lists are also alphabetical, which is crazy, which is why, Parker's so smart for being Eris Consulting. He pops up first I know that's why he did it.
It didn't hurt it. It didn't hurt it for sure.
It didn't hurt. 1, 2, 3 HVAC.
Yeah, there you go.
But,
I don't want to be compared to that kind of thing.
No. I'm totally razzing you. But a smart algorithm that it thinks about proximity, but it also takes into account your response rate. So when you get a lead, the more prompt you are with your response, that'll affect where you pop up. Your Google reviews are going to be right there on your profile. You'll get to show a gallery of your work. If you have special offers, you can include that too. Enter promo code Parker is awesome for 50% off all your home performance needs. I like it. Nice. A lot of cool features that'll be available, as well as your license updates. Like if you have different licenses where you can perform work, you can upload those as well to inform kind of where your territory is.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, Angie's List, I guess, similar, but better and more specialized, because Angie's List gets pretty messy pretty quick.
Yeah.
Having dealt with it myself sometimes. Like you said, it's just another list kind of at the end of the day. So yeah, that's awesome. Sounds good. Okay. We have just a little bit more time. Do you have enough time to go into the statewide HVAC license piece?
For that, absolutely, and for you guys, because you've just been asking such great questions. I'll make some time for sure. Yeah, Chance is buying us some more time here, so
love it.
Yeah, not to cut off the Colorado Contractor Hub too early. So if you have something, feel free to circle back on it, because that's awesome, and we want to promote that as well. Like through our HVAC training, let's get people hooked up on it right away. Why not? Like if they go through our training, we know they're trustworthy. Let's add them. Let's get them in that program. But to transition to that statewide HVAC license, what is that? Tell us about that.
For sure. Again, it falls under the easy button mentality that I've kind of been obsessing over. But for those who are interested in the Colorado Contractor Hub, the domain is www.coloradocontractorhub.org. Once we're up and running in January, definitely sign up. It's free. It's quick to sign up, like less than 20 minutes to add all your info. You should be getting leads quick after that. So definitely sign up. You don't have to be a heat pump installer either. You can do home performance. You can do water heaters, whatever you're offering to homes. You can let that be known and mark kind of what you do. So that's the last thing I'll say on the hub. But
thank you. Yeah,
check that out. Man, again, it started when they hired me at Denver and said we need to grow the heat pump workforce. I kind of just went in with a job seeker mentality, and it's like, okay, I want to get into the HVAC industry. How do I do that? And I noticed a big difference between becoming an electrician and becoming a plumber versus HVAC. electricians and plumbers, they had these state apprenticeships with these required hours, and there was a very clear path to a state apprentice and these journeyman worker hours, and it was very regulated and standardized across the whole state. And HVAC was so much more complicated. And, you know, everyone I talked to at the city of Denver's planning office, you know, they kind of just said, yeah, that's the way it is. It's the way it's always been. And then when I talked to contractors about licensing, that's when I really, the light bulbs started going off. So I was like, okay, it's a local license. There is no state license. So that means Denver has its own license to do mechanical work in Denver, and Boulder has a different license. So what if I work in both Denver and Boulder? Do I have to have 2 licenses? And I found out the answer was yes. I was like, well, we represent 59 cities and towns. I was like, what if someone represents all of, Dr. Cog? Do they have 59 different licenses? And these contractors are like, yeah, dude, it sucks. And I'm like, well, at least the licenses are all the same, right? Like they require the same. They're like, no, it's different. And it renews every year. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, really, like, why? And I'm getting animated now. People in the office are probably, but
I'm getting stressed thinking about it.
We love it.
Why is that the way that it is? Is that just because it's more dangerous than electrical work? No, there's still plenty of danger in electrical work and plumbing. Why is that? Is it this way everywhere? So I did some research on every state in the United States, and I have a table to show this. And Colorado is one of 16 states that doesn't have a state HVAC license. So this is not business as usual. We're in the minority there. And so then I started obsessing over, well, why is that? Why is that? Or is it ever possible to create a state license? And when I again, always asking contractors their thoughts, and I would ask contractors, how would you feel about one state license for HVAC? And overwhelmingly positive feedback. I remember one big burly contractor hugged me when I said it, and I was like, oh, he's like, man, even just thinking about that would make my life so much easier. Maybe the big businesses have admin staff back at the office to renew these licenses, but again, a small mom and pop business, they're renewing their license while driving down I-25 going to their next job.
Maybe that's why there's so many wrecks. Exactly. Too many licenses.
They're doing it in the crawl space too. Like, what's taking so long? Sorry, renewed my license. That way I know.
And to be honest, we've experienced that firsthand through Aris and through Blue Sky with some of the HVAC contractors we work with. Man, they want to pull their hair out trying to keep track of all these different licenses because they want the ability to work statewide if that's what they feel like they can do. But the biggest barrier, like you're saying, Clay, is like, I can't go down to Steamboat because I don't have a license down there, or wherever in the state it may be. So it's a gigantic barrier to not only the business owners, but to the customers too, because, take the Steamboat example, a lady sitting in Steamboat wants a heat pump, but she has trouble finding a qualified contractor because no one has the license out there. So I really like that your main focus is that overall easy button, because I truly do think that's the biggest barrier to all of this.
And Clay, on that, so with your vision of the state license, right? You have one license that will cover you essentially through the whole state, but we also have these municipalities that are, I guess, currently well above what the state license probably will be. Right. So I love the idea. You're bringing the bottom up, which is amazing. But what do you do about that top piece that maybe want to keep their rules or?
Yeah. So I asked this. Trying to envision something that doesn't exist yet. You just have to look elsewhere. So I've interviewed a lot of states that have state licenses. Like we interviewed Massachusetts, some of their, state license guys, and Utah actually, and then in Colorado I interviewed a guy that works on the plumbing board, and I said, that exact question, what if you're more prescriptive than this floor standard that the state license is? And at least the guy of the plumbing board in Colorado said, if a municipality wants to add additional prescriptive measures to work in their jurisdiction, they can do so for an additional license. They just can't require less than the
Right.
state license. So this isn't about lowering the standards in Boulder and Denver, which we know are the most prescriptive, but it's just about creating that floor, that floor of standards across the state. Because the example I always use is the town of Meade, Colorado, and little old Meade, Colorado. Looking up, I also have done research on every jurisdiction in Colorado and their license requirements, and I have that table as well if you want to see it. Meade,
That's awesome.
Meade requires no mechanical license whatsoever to work on mechanical equipment. All you need is a business license, meaning I could get a business license in Meade and I could go install a gas furnace in a house and put on a uniform, and who would know the difference in Meade?
Yep.
No one's going to ask me for my license. And this isn't like putting up this isn't installing a fence, or this is a gas piece of equipment with carbon monoxide leaking and refrigerant and lighting gas on fire. Like, it's not just a heat pump thing. In fact, we need good heat pump installs too, and there's damage that can be done there. But like, this is technology agnostic. This is, a contractor told me recently, HVAC is the piece of equipment in your house that can actually kill you.
Yeah.
Why is that? And so for me, we're investing $200 million into this industry that doesn't have any guardrails. As the wild, wild west. And so it is just reckless, I think, for us as a government agency to be investing so much money into an industry, and then who knows who's going to be installing this, and we can have so many unintended consequences if we don't get on the same page as a state. And more than anything, industry wants it. So that's my call to action, my gospel of state licensure for HVAC. So I learned how you create a state license, and it's through DORA, and it's through this office in DORA called COPPER, which is the Colorado Office of Policy, Research, and Regulatory Reform. And it's a mouthful, COPPER, and anyone can submit a sunrise application to COPPER. And you submit a sunrise application when you think there's an industry that the state should regulate that isn't being regulated. Now, inversely, you can apply for a sunset application, which is to deregulate something at the state level. And so they have these 26 questions that you fill out, and that's like, what is the day-to-day operations of this occupation? And give examples of when a consumer has been harmed by someone in this occupation, and how many people are in this industry. And so for a year in 2024, and half of 2025, I was interviewing people, I was filling out these questions, holding stakeholder sessions, and put together a 50-page application. All of our research, all of our data on every state and all the cities, got so many letters of support, and even had to get it approved by Dr. Cog's board, which is each city and town, each 59, they each get a seat on our board. So we have a 59-person board. And I had to convince them to let us do this, to submit this application. And I think all but 4 cities said yes. Just
nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So we sent it in January, or in June. They take applications on semester basis. So if you send it in before July 1st, they will conduct their thorough research review to determine, should this be licensed, yes or no? And they release their findings, their final report, at the end of that review period. So the end of the review period for my application is December 31st, 2025. So in 3 weeks, we will know how the state feels and if this could move forward as a bill next year or the year after. So a lot is riding on what the state comes out and reports at the end of this year.
And hopefully they look at it and say, this doesn't exist already. I mean, that's what I would think. Like, this isn't a thing. So, man, that's awesome, Clay. We appreciate the work you're doing. You know, one of the things I say a lot is our name is Home Performance Advocate Podcast for a reason, because we say home performance and people have no idea what we're saying when we say that. And what you're doing is like the heart of that. You're advocating for the field and the trade, growing it with all around, for green incentives, also just for workforce incentives. So all around. So we love having you on. Love what you're doing. Keep grinding it. We'll hopefully have you on again in the future as well. Cause with so many things going on, we're going to need updates. We're going to need to know how that keeps going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're busy.
Yeah. A lot of stuff. So yeah, thank you again. Is there anything as we close that you would need to put out there, websites, anything like that? You mentioned the Colorado Contractor Hub one, but anything else you want to put out there real quick?
Yeah, just be on the lookout for powerheadcolorado.org. That's going to be coming out soon. Incentives for that program, looking at spring of next year. And there's just going to be a suite of resources available. If you want to, if you're a stakeholder in the workforce, you have a training program on HVAC, or you're an employer and you're hiring apprentices right now, or you're a nonprofit looking to support people in training, get in touch. We launched a network this year to try and connect more of those dots, called the Electrification Workforce Network, or EWN. Get connected to the EWN. We do meetups, we do webinars where we're just trying to connect people more and build some camaraderie around this industry. We all have the same goal, but I think we're also busy. We work in silos a lot. So just a chance to break bread together and shake hands, and, cheers a cold one if you need to. But if you want to get connected, definitely reach out to me. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Honestly, I'm on LinkedIn just way too much. But if you want to get more connected, do what these guys at Blue Sky are doing. I saw Parker doing Aris Consulting a few years ago, and then saw him have the obsessive vision to lean into education and training. And it's clear guys like Parker have a vision of what the industry really needs, and that's why he went and created something. So just follow Parker's lead, man. Create more. We need more businesses, more training programs. There's no saturation yet. Just like we need more people making things, creating things, building things. So that's my final word.
Yeah. Awesome.
Love it.
And
Thanks, Clay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. This is great.
I will go ahead and put any of those links and the stuff to the LinkedIn in notes, as I think is standard with most podcasts. So I'll go ahead and do that. So any of those links that you want to find, if you're listening, you can go to the notes here on Spotify or YouTube and click through those. We'd love to have you follow us for updated information as we move into we're going to do a season on heat pumps. We just wrapped up manufactured housing, talking about that and improving that. So we're going to kind of move into heat pumps now, Clay, for your information on this podcast of what we'll be talking about next. But we'd love to have you again in the future talking about all of the above. So thank you again for having us, and thank you for listening.
Thanks, Clay. See you, Clay.